Hey friends, that Christmas countdown clock is about to run out on us. Whether you need some last minute appetizers for guests or you're just looking for something tasty to share with your family for a cozy night in, I believe I can help. I'm Mel and welcome to my kitchen. In tonight's quick and easy recipes, we're starting with 3 ingredients. We'll add a few pantry staples and you just won't believe the delicious outcome. And I've got a good friend that's joining me in the kitchen to make his famous hot chocolate and give us all of his great tips and tricks. So let's get started. We are going to make some little pepperoni pizza bites, and I'm going to use 1 can of grand size biscuits. I'm taking each biscuit and I am going to cut it into 6 pieces. Toss it in a bowl over here. Full transparency here. We're going to make these in muffin tins, like 12 little muffin cups. I tried this little recipe in a bundt pan. I wanted it to flip out and be like monkey bread. Honey, that thing stuck. It was awful. Take a look. And now we're going to put this in a 350 degree oven. Oh, I hope it ain't too done. It's feeling a little crunchy. I am scared. It ain't coming out.
You want it to retain its shape. That's the whole fun. But I don't think it's gonna.
You gotta get it out of here. Oh no, it is so stuck.
Get a big knife.
Oh.
You failed.
Oh. So now we're gonna try it in a little smaller size. I think that the bundt pan, it just had to cook, too long. And it just got too hot or something on the bottom. I don't know. I'm also going to take a couple little stacks of pepperoni and cut them into little pieces. If you have those little mini pepperonis, you can skip this step. Now I'm going to take a few tablespoons of some olive oil. And I'm just going to coat my biscuits here and get them kind of broken apart a little bit. Now I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of Italian seasoning. I'm just going to go in with my hand because I really want these biscuits to get broken apart and coated. This is about half the size of the bundt pan that I made too. So this is a lot, less ingredients to use up here. I'm going to put these pepperonis in, try to make sure they're all apart. You can feel free to use anything you want in here. Onions, black olives, I think some hamburger meat, browned up, or breakfast sausage cooked up would be great in here. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing all of my amounts right here, but I'll leave you a recipe pin down below with kind of exact measurements for this. I'm going to put a splash more oil, and I'm using about 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. And again, I'm just using my hand to get all this incorporated and mixed in together. Now I'm just going to divide all of this up between these 12 muffin pans. And I do have this muffin pan thoroughly coated. I also had my bundt pan thoroughly coated. I don't know what happened there. But it would have been so pretty to just have it in a like monkey bread where you could pull it apart and eat it. But it just wasn't meant to be, friends. I'm just kind of trying to make sure that each piece has, pepperoni and everything. They don't have to be exact or perfect. They're just all going to bake up into themselves anyway. Looks pretty good, don't you think, Maddie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to put these in a 350 degree oven. Cook them for about 15 to 20 minutes. Look how beautiful and brown they came out. I went around and loosened them with a knife. This is so much better than doing it in a big bundt pan. I really enjoyed having the smaller pieces. Everybody is not having to stick their hand in there. And look how gooey and cheesy and delicious. We dipped these in marinara. If I'm totally honest, most everybody at my house dipped it in ranch dressing, but we like that about these pizza bites, that they don't have the sauce in them. We really like the Detroit Motor City style pizzas because of that too. You have all the cheese and all the garlic and seasonings, but you don't have all that sauce. These are amazing. You have to give them a try, and they reheat perfectly and keep in the fridge for 3 or 4 days. I've got a 10-ounce package of refrigerated tortellini bouillon up here. I'm using this Reina cheese lovers, and we're just going to cook this about 3 minutes. We're going to do it al dente. Today we're going to make some toasted tortellini bites. We're setting up some dredging bowls over here. In this one we've got a half a cup of flour. In this one Maddie is cracking 2 eggs. Okay, we're going to do about that much milk. That was probably about 2 tablespoons, and that's fine. That's fine. It spilled, that's fine. In this bowl, we've got about 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, and I'm going to add in about half a cup of some Parmesan cheese. I use the shredded kind, but you can definitely use this kind in the green can, and I think I'm just going to shake a little bit of that in here anyway, because I just think it'll mix in with the panko even better. I'm going to crack in just a little bit of salt and just a little bit of pepper, and probably a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And I'm just going to incorporate all of this together, and we need to scramble these eggs and milk together too. When I came across this recipe, I was really excited to try it. Number one, I have this newfound love for tortellini that I didn't think I liked. And then this recipe, you have a very heavy hand for everything. It wants everything coated very heavily, and I am bad to overcoat and overstuff things when I'm cooking, so this one was right up my alley. I put my tortellini out here on this little plate so they can kind of get spread out and hopefully cool a little bit. And I've got my dredging station fixed up and a baking sheet. I'm going to do a couple, and then I'm going to put Maddie to work in here doing these for me. First thing, they go in the flour, and it says to coat them heavily. I'm so good at this. Then you want to put it in your milk and egg mixture, and again it said to coat it heavily. You don't want any of the white flour showing on here. Then drop it over into the panko. Once again, coat it very, very heavily. Really smush it down in there. Then we're going to set it right over here on a baking sheet. Got my baking sheet lined with parchment. You want to give them a good amount of room in between of them so they can really get baked up and crispy. This is half of the original recipe that I found. It's just me and Maddie and Patrick here tonight, and I have never made these. So I definitely wanted to make sure this technique and that everything turned out okay before I invested a lot of ingredients into making a whole bunch of these. But I have seen these floating around for a while and always thought that I would like to try them. So I can't wait to see how it turns out. I've got 15 of them here. Got this many more to go. I'm going to put these in a 375-degree oven. Bake them for about 14 or 15 minutes.
Can I pick any one of them?
He's going to pick any one of them. He can't wait for the second tray to come out and for me to plate them up. I'm going to drizzle some melted butter over them with some more Parmesan.
I'll just go ahead and eat it.
He's gonna try it. Let's get his real raw reaction. Are they too hot?
Probably should have checked that first. That's good.
You like those?
Mm-hmm. That's real good.
And you're not a big fan when I make pasta and tortellini, but you really like it fried up like this, don't you?
What'd you say you was gonna put on it?
I'm gonna melt a little butter and drizzle over it. And maybe a little bit more Parmesan or Italian seasoning. And then, do you want some marinara? I've got some marinara if you want to dip it in that.
No, not right now.
Okay, you can try that later.
Very good.
What's that?
Very good.
I'm very good.
Yes, you are. And those are too.
After both of my trays cooled, I've just combined them onto one. I'm going to give them all just a little drizzle of melted butter. Another little sprinkle of Italian seasoning. These were so delicious. I absolutely loved it when I melted the butter and put just a little bit more seasoning on them. So glad I finally got to try these. And they're great to keep any leftovers in the refrigerator and to reheat them in the air fryer. It really crisps them back up. This is, again, one of those recipes, just some tortellini, cheese, and panko breadcrumbs. Everything else is just a regular pantry staple item. You got to give this one a try. Tonight, I'm literally going to throw together the easiest spinach queso dip you have ever seen. I'm making a real small amount for me and Patrick tonight, so I'm just going to use one package of this TGI Friday spinach and artichoke dip. Just going to peel back the corner, slide this little baby in the microwave, and I'm going to let it cook for 2 minutes. While that spinach is cooking up, I'm going to take half of a 1-pound block of Velveeta, and I'm just going to cube it up into chunks and put it in a microwave safe container. This little recipe is so easy, I don't even think you can call it a recipe. And I realize the TGI Fridays appetizers might be a little bit pricey, but by the time you bought artichokes and spinach, you would probably be about the same in price, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time in the long run. Now I'm going to take about half of this can of Rotel. I'm going to throw some on the counter, but I'm going to put about half of it over in here with my cheese, and I want to get a little bit of that juice for sure too. It's a lot easier when you make a bulk amount of this and you just throw the whole can in, but like I said, tonight it's just me and Patrick. We don't even need to eat this much. Hopefully this will last us the weekend. Bringing my spinach dip out of the microwave, and we're going to replace it with this. I'm going to slide it in, and we'll cook it anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. Just want to make sure and stir it every so often and get it melted. Now that my cheese is just beginning to melt, pulling it out, and I'm going to take my partially cooked spinach dip, stir that in. Now we're going to put it back in the microwave, cook it just a minute or two. Then you're just going to pour it into a pretty little serving dish and you are done. This is the most easy and delicious little spinach queso dip. It's totally full of shortcuts, but it is oh so delicious. That TGI Fridays spinach and artichoke dip, it just makes all the difference in this. This is a great little treat to have any time of year, but it's especially good to pull out for a quick party appetizer. Today, I've got just a whole hodgepodge of yummy looking ingredients out here. So if you're wondering what is going down in the kitchen today, here's you a hint. We're making hot chocolate. But I am not making the hot chocolate today. I want to introduce you to my friend Marcus Blair. Marcus is the owner of Omega Digital Solutions, and he does digital stuff.
We do digital things, but there's no keyboards, no code, none of that type of stuff today. We're going to be making hot chocolate 2 or 3 different ways.
All right, I can't wait to get started. First, we're going to see if Marcus can work my can opener.
It's a very safe can opener.
It's a safe can opener.
Okay, so we have 2 different ways of making hot chocolate. We're going to make a really quick recipe with just milk and sweetened condensed milk, and then one that's a little more involved with evaporated milk, whole milk, and then some cornstarch and some sugar. Okay. So we're going to do easy first. Yeah, we'll do easy first. So you can start with 2 cups of milk, but honestly, I just kind of eyeball it. And the number one thing about making this is don't burn the milk. So you're saying low and slow. Low and slow, and preferably keep it moving if you can. Okay. Keep it moving. Ideally, you wouldn't heat it much hotter than the temperature you'd want it to be if you were going to drink it. Cool. So I'm just setting this to 2, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, and this is going to be our easy one, and this is going to be our fancy one, more involved. More involved. Okay. The reason why this one is easy is because the sugar is in the sweetened condensed milk. So if you want it sweeter or thicker, just add a little more milk and a little more sweetened condensed milk, and that's really all there is to it.
Over here we just got 2 cups of milk.
We'll probably add half a can of sweetened condensed milk. It's really hard to get this one wrong.
Look at that.
We'll just dump that in there till that feels about right.
I think
that's about half a can.
Yeah, that's about half. I think it sounds like you know what you're doing here.
Well, my family at home has had to suffer through me experimenting.
But you know ingredients.
I don't remember when it was. Marcus is a lot taller than me.
You'll only see me from here up. I don't remember when we started talking about this, but like you really know ingredients and that kind of stuff and how they all work together. And I just like do trial by error or trial by fire or whatever.
How do you think I learned how the ingredients work together?
Okay, that's good.
Experiment.
That's good.
That's about it.
Here you go. Experiment.
This one you can adjust the sweetness and the thickness separate from each other. So if I want it to be sweeter, then I'll add sugar. If I want it to be thicker, then I'll add a little more like cornstarch and water and simmer it for a little bit, and then it'll thicken up. And the evaporated milk will add just a little bit of body to it. So we've got a 12-ounce can here, and there's probably a cup of milk in there, maybe a little more than that. So we're just gonna add about 1/4 of a cup or 1/4 of a can here, and then we'll let that heat up. Okay, to thicken up the fancy recipe, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a spoonful of cornstarch. I mean, you could say it's probably a tablespoon, maybe a little less. I'm just going to put it into a coffee cup, add a little bit of water.
Those aren't dirty dishes in that sink.
Of course not.
Of course not.
And we're just going to stir it up. Now, the reason we make sure to wait for these to come up to temperature is because the chocolate that we're putting in is just this cocoa powder, right? It will mix so much easier when this is hot than it will when it's cold, and it will save you a lot of trouble and you won't have so many clumps and things like that. It's getting too hot. Before it starts to stick to the bottom of the pan or around the same time, the top of the milk will start to form almost like a really thin skin.
Okay.
And that's your cue that it is scalding and you need to stir it and get it off the heat.
Okay.
We're not there yet right now.
Do we want it to get to that point?
No.
Okay,
if you've taken it that far, it needs to be cooler.
That's too far.
That is too far. Okay, Mama Mel, so go ahead and stir those.
Okay.
And tell me if you can feel a difference in the body.
Well, full disclosure, we added a little bit more sweetened condensed milk to this one.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, there's that one. Okay, I feel the bottom. I feel something on the bottom maybe of this one.
Do you? So this one's a little smaller.
Oh yeah, see, look.
And you can see it getting a little steam, so we're going to dial that back a notch and we'll go ahead and start adding chocolate to this one.
Okay, this one still has a little bit to go, I think.
All right. This is a very precise process that you're about to see. And it's very important that you measure everything exactly the way that you see in the video. You take the cocoa and the sifter and you dump it in there.
All right.
Okay, what we're looking for is the right color. So we'll just add a little bit. All right, don't want those because they won't mix and I'm making a mess.
That's all right.
And then we'll start to stir this in. So this will absorb. We give it a little bit of time here. But what you're looking for is the right color. So if it's not light, if it's too light, then add a little more. If it's too dark, well then you've gone too far, and just add a little bit more milk. And that'll lighten it right up again.
Oh, it looks good already.
If we were to try to drink this right now, it would taste like that box of cocoa, which is not something anybody wants to drink. So we have to make it sweeter. You see there's a few bits of cocoa in here that didn't mix in, right? You can get rid of those just by pressing it against the side, but don't worry about it too much. There will be plenty of time that it'll mix in, and then when we pour it, we're gonna strain it anyway, so it'll be fine.
Wow.
Right, so this is still a little lighter than what I would typically like to see, but you can adjust it however you would like. So we're gonna add some more chocolate to this one.
All right.
Maybe not quite that much. We're just going to stir in the chocolate and then we'll sweeten it. We'll add a couple of spices and we're done. And it's not even that difficult. You'll never want to drink Swiss Miss again. Slurry is right here.
Okay.
This will help thicken it up.
Okay,
We'll
so we're
ahead
gonna
and add this.
put our slurry in. For unsweetened cocoa to smell so good, it's just weird how it tastes so bad.
Right.
This is our more advanced.
Yeah.
So this is in the kitchen with Marcus. This one over here is probably in the kitchen with Mama Mel. It's nice to do something special. Extra special, isn't it?
Yes. So
Treat.
Mama Mel, when you add salt to something,
Oh, he's going to scare me now,
Yeah,
asking me questions.
we're adding a little bit of salt. Now, if you put so much salt in here that you can actually taste salt, it's too much. And this is rock salt. The idea here is that the salt will make the chocolate richer, but you won't actually be able to taste salt. But it's a sneaky trick for all kinds of chocolate, whether it's hot chocolate, chocolate cake, or anything else you happen to be making.
Yeah.
Add some salt, make it a little bit richer.
Kind of like salted caramel. Is that the
Salted
same?
caramel, same idea.
Yeah.
Next thing we'll add is a little bit of cinnamon.
Yes.
Same idea. This is a complementary flavor, but you don't want anybody to actually taste cinnamon. And the cinnamon, be very sparing, so not very much in there at all.
Just a little smidge.
Yeah, that might have been maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. So you can smell it right now, but you won't be able to taste it. And lastly, a bit of vanilla extract. And vanilla extract makes everything slicker.
So you can't go, but it's hard to go wrong with this.
It is hard to go wrong.
Yeah.
Now, even if you were to taste it right now, it would still be relatively bitter. So actually, we're going to put Mama Mel on the spot and have her taste it.
Oh boy!
All right. Now, right now, there's still no sugar in it or anything, so she's probably not going to like it.
Joy. That's not a smoke detector you hear in the background.
Nothing's burning.
We're not. If you hear things going on, Patrick's out there blowing leaves, and I think that's the carbon monoxide detector in the garage. Yeah, it's not sweet.
Not sweet.
It's not sweet because that's just not what I'm expecting it to taste like.
So let's put sugar in here, and again, very precise.
Make it over top here. I feel like a scientist. More sugs.
More sugar.
And we're just tasting as we go here.
Just add a bit more until we get it right where we want to be. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but I can tell as I stir it how the body of it has thickened.
I can tell watching.
And also a lot of those bits that we had before, like you still see a few of them in there, but it's less than it was before.
Yeah.
Okay, so another taste test. Now, for me personally, this is where I would leave it because I don't like things really sweet. But
That's hot.
depending on how you like it, you could add more sugar or less.
Oh. That's good. I'd leave it right there, Marcus. I like that. That's perfect.
Now, the other things you can do with hot chocolate, once you have it to this point, you can just dump your marshmallows in it. I always let the marshmallows melt and then I serve it into a mug because it looks like a beer. The marshmallow forms like a little head.
Oh, yeah.
Right. What you can also do, if you want to make a Mexican hot chocolate, just add a sprinkle of cayenne pepper. Again, not too much. If you've ever had Mexican hot chocolate, I personally love it, but it's definitely an acquired taste. If you don't like spicy food, probably not for you. If you want to add a little bit of peppermint flavor to your hot chocolate, you can take, depending on how strong you want it. So Mama Mel has these candy cane spoons.
Yeah.
If you want a hint of peppermint, take a candy cane spoon like this or an actual candy cane. Take your hot chocolate, take your marshmallows, put them into a mug, and then take the candy cane, put it down in there, and serve it that way.
Okay.
And that'll add a little bit of peppermint flavor, and then whoever you're serving it to, once it gets too strong or was where once it gets to the point they like it, they can just take it out again.
Perfect.
If you want to add it to the hot chocolate itself, then grab some peppermint extract, add a couple of drops of peppermint extract in there, and then the candy cane is optional.
Yeah, it could just be decor.
It'll be a little candy cane or a little peppermint pizzazz.
Yes, that's right, a little garnish. All right, Marcus is going plain. He doctored me up with some whipped cream and sprinkles. Let's give him a taste. That is so good. Do I have a mustache?
Yes.
Oh.
I love hot chocolate. It's so comforting. Even at, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
But it's cold today. It's so stinking cold. This is great. Do yourself a favor. Make this for your family. It's a special, special treat. I'm getting all that cream down mushed in mine now because I am getting ready to go to town on this. Marcus, thank you. I don't want to get chocolate on you. Well, that's right. That's your sweater. Thank you so much for everything. Coming and making chocolate and just being my friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
All right. We'll do it again.
All right.
As tends to happen when friends get together, we ran out of time. We did finish the other hot chocolate, the easy one, with the 2 cups of milk, half a can of sweetened condensed milk. We added about half of an extra large dark chocolate bar and just let that melt and get down in there. We put a little bit of salt and cinnamon and vanilla in it, and it was also super delicious. Thanks, Marcus, for coming over and spending some time with me, visiting and making hot chocolate. And I hope that each one of you is having a wonderful Christmas season. I just want to let you know how much it means to me that you come into my kitchen and visit with me every single week. Your time is something that's precious and I never take it for granted. And I want to wish each of you a very, very Merry Christmas. I'm taking a couple of Sundays off after the holidays, and I will see you in the new year with lots of new recipes and fun. As always, until next time, I send you love from my kitchen.